Good evening. We're continuing our series, Psychology of the Mind and the Soul, Relationship. This lecture will be Leilui Nishmat Sarah Bat Chana Amar Umiri Bat Moshe Levi. Also for the health and success of Shimon Ben Chaim and Orlando Ben Luis, and also Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf of Reuven Ben Yael Yonina, Simcha Chana Bat Shifra, Samara Aviva Bat Shifra, Aruva Chaya Bat Samara Aviva, Shifra Bat Sivya, Yaakov Reuven Ben Haika. Last lecture number 3, we ended with financial questions about marrying the children, getting married, not having money. As a matter of fact, I got a lot of questions today about this topic. The people that watch that lecture, they have all these dilemmas. People that are about to make a decision if to get married or not, they worry a lot about money. What's going to be, what will happen in 1 year, in 2 years, will the husband will be able to provide if he learns Torah? And a lot of people beginning to get clear answers about the dilemmas that they have. Basically, about the dilemmas that they have about decisions, and they didn't know what decisions to make, right? So basically a lot of these people, Baruch Hashem, are getting answers to the question, and I'm happy about it. Also the series that we do in Hebrew from Israel, I get a lot of good response from people. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol nהיה b'dvaro. So we continue. A father comes to ask the rabbi about the shidduch that they offer to his daughter. The guy is very talented, he's very serious, he's learning non-stop, he's also fearful from Hashem, he has yirat shamayim. The father checked with the Rosh Yeshiva, the rabbi in charge of his yeshiva, and the Rosh Yeshiva said, everything they told you about this guy, it's true. There's only one thing. What is it? The guy is very quiet. My opinion, it's not for you, this kind of shidduch. It's quiet. That's it. That's his crime. He's a quiet guy. He's not the type to talk too much, attracts too much attention. I said, the father came to ask Rav Shlomo Hoffman. He said, that's the case. Rav Shlomo Hoffman said, what's the dilemma? How do you know? Maybe your daughter likes a guy that is quiet, but everybody likes people that makes a lot of noise. Maybe it's good for her. Let her date the guy and see if she would agree to marry him. That means it's good for her. She would see that he's relatively quiet in a dating. Sometimes we answer people based on our own opinion. You should do it, you should not do it, because the things that we like, we already assume they also like it. The things that we don't like, we assume they don't like it. That's a very big mistake, and a very common mistake. For instance, you may not like the way you dress. No, well, maybe the girl would love, or maybe the other side would like it. You don't like certain things that they do. Maybe the other person would like it. You don't like their joke too much. Maybe the girl would like someone like that. There's a lot of different things that you may not like, or sometimes even despite. You already assume the whole world is the same opinion like you. And that's a very common mistake. You have to just say what you saw without expressing your opinion. The people have their own rabbi, they have their own decision, they know what they like, what they hate. Let them make a decision. Nobody asks you to be their rabbi. They only ask you a reference. What can you tell me about this guy? What can you tell me about this girl? You just say what you know. Not everything you're allowed to say. We'll get into it in the rest of the series, where we'll get to some questions that people will ask, what you're allowed to say, what you're not allowed to say. We'll get to it. This is a very important foundation in everything in life. Education, shidduchim, that a person has to know how to satisfy the other person according to his or her needs. what's good for them. Many times you give the other person what you like, but they don't like it, or the other way around. So you have to, this is not easy, because you have to learn very much what the other person like. For instance, a person just got married. Right away, just within a week or so, after the wedding, he will get his wife certain flowers. But he will give her the flowers he likes, whatever colors he chooses, because he likes it. So let's say he likes yellow, she hates yellow. She, of course, won't show it, but after years, he will learn to know that there are certain things that he will detect right away, what she likes, what she hates. So the idea is not to give the person what you like. The gift is not for you, it's what they like, what's good for them. And that's also, it needs a lot of iyun, a lot of careful viewing. You have to review the case very carefully. Therefore, when you speak about shidduchim, the shatchan, the matchmaker, or the references, they cannot determine for the kids, for the boy or for the girl, what's good for them. You know, they have to check themselves if they like it or not. The parent, the same thing. The parent is not going to get married. The kid is going to get married. He has to give his personal advice about certain things, and they have to make the final decision. That's his daughter who's going to get married. If she won't want, no. So they both have the same opinion. If she would agree, he has to support her. And again, this is as long as we're not talking about a sinner, a dangerous guy, a criminal, a drug addict, a drug dealer, someone is mechalel Shabbat, all kinds of things like that. And it's a different story, because now it's not what you think, it's what Hashem thinks. And Hashem doesn't want for your daughter, if she's keeping mitzvot, someone like that. Or for the guy, a girl that is not religious enough. But that's already a different issue, which we also elaborate later on. Now we have a question: how to accept information from friends? When you ask people about shidduch, you ask the neighbor, you ask one of the teacher, you ask a mutual friend, is it first of all is a good idea to check all these references? Would you count on what they say? Maybe there's jealousy involved here. Maybe it's a big difference of opinions in hashkafa, different ideology. How do you know that the people that are going to tell you certain things about this person are really objective? Maybe they have a daughter or a son that is not getting married and they're eating their heart for many years, and as soon as they hear you checking a shidduch for your daughter or for your son, they'll do everything they can to ruin it. And sometimes they're even not coming from their conscious. It can come from their subconscious. They are so much afraid from their jealousy that you will be able to close on a shidduch that they will find at least one or two bad things to say, and hopefully they'll ruin it. So how do you know? How do you know if you can rely on the people, on certain people that you ask questions? That's a question that we have to ask. And let's say you know that these people are extremely righteous and they are not going to mix their own feelings or anything like that. But how do you know that whatever they say is accurate? Maybe according to the way they look at it, that's the way they translate it. Maybe it's different. Is it possible to accept a reference from someone and take it for granted, take it as a fact? Or you still need to go and check? That's really a very common question that people are debating with their mind. Should we do it? Should we ask? Should we check too much? Should we not? Should we really make an FBI investigation here? Or let's check one date at a time. And the longer we date and see, then things anyway will become more clear. Okay, so let's see. Is it productive to check by friends that actually dated that girl? Let's say a friend of yours dated that girl. It didn't work out between them. Now they suggested her to you, and you're about to go on a date with her. Is it smart to go to the guy and say, "Hey, excuse me, can you tell me what can you tell me about this girl? You dated her once, twice. What may I ask? Why you didn't want her? Or why? How does it? It's a friend of yours. You trust him. Do you want to ask their personal opinion about the girl based on their experience with her? Or it's actually will do more bad than good? That's a good question. The Rambam define two expressions. There is an expression that we all know, emet v'sheker, truth and false, and there is good and bad. Truth and false, and then we have good, emet v'sheker, the truth and the false, and then we have good and bad. Two different categories. Some things, their observations is you measuring it if it's true or false. For instance, some things feels bad, but it's really true. Like, for instance, you get a shot against a certain disease or seizure that you have. Let's say a person has seizure. He gets a shot, the seizure stops, it saves his life. Before that, every time he got it, he was almost dead. Now he gets this shot every once in a while. That shot does something to his brain or to his body. The shot is very painful, but it saves life. So here is an example of something that is bad, feels bad, but it's the truth. Then you have things that feels good, but it's false, like drugs. A lot of people run after it, like, wow, they can't live without it, unfortunately. It messed up their life. Everybody understands it's false. It's all an illusion. So here's an example that it can be it's contradicting. Not everything that's true is good, and not everything that is bad is false. Sometimes it feels good, but it's terrible. It's totally false. And sometimes it feels good, but it's false. But sometimes it's actually bad, but it feels good. Okay, we got the point. So it says like this. The Rambam said the intelligence is besechel muchlat, in a definite intelligence, thinking that is not influenced with the will and the senses. You only have truth and false. If you eliminate your heart, eliminate your desires, eliminate all kinds of things that your body is anxious to have. Completely. If you are in that level, that you can eliminate your desires and you can eliminate your feelings. And you are 100% brain right now. Totally rational. Like a computer. A computer doesn't have feelings. It will always do the same thing. It's not one time is in a mood to tell you yes, and tomorrow is in a mood to tell you no. A machine doesn't have feelings. People are not machines, they have feelings. Feelings, in most people, mainly by women, overcome their rational thinking. They are not objective because they are blinded by their desires or certain things that they think that it's good for them and they want to get it, and things that people stuff their head with, so that's clog their judgment. Mainly is the desires, the physical desires that overcome the thinking and the rational decision. So the Rambam say, if you are in such a level that your brain can detach right now from your heart completely and make the decision and then connect again to the heart, because you still need the heart for everyday's life. Over here you don't have, in something like this, you don't have good and bad. Because it's nothing to do with feelings. It doesn't matter how you feel, you don't feel. You know what's right, what's wrong. For instance, 2 plus 2, the answer will always be 4. Regardless of what's going to happen around. It's not dependable on anything around. It's always 4. No matter where you are, no matter who you ask, no matter what's the feelings over there, people are happy, people are sad, it doesn't matter. The truth will always remain the same. There's no other answer. Why? Because this answer is not influenced by imagination, by senses, by infatuations, by desires. If someone will tell you the answer is 3, everybody knows it's wrong. That's it. It's false. Or he's a liar. Or he's a fool. One of the 3. But it cannot be that both things are correct. It cannot be 4 and it cannot be 3 at the same time. It's math. You have one answer. Okay. However, there is also an expression of good and bad. Things that come from a person's will and desires and senses. and all kinds of other influences, such as imagination. People have imagination. And the last lecture, we gave an example of women and children, that by them the imagination is much more developed than a man. That's why women are so graphic, and they can do all kinds of designs, and they're better with designing the house and clothing and all these things. And children with their imagination, there's no end to the movies that they have in their head, right? Where a man, when he grows up, he comes out of this imagination and connects himself more to reality. However, sometimes the will and the sentence clog the brain, clog the judgment. The Rambam in Shmona Parakim, in his book, there is a serious expression the Rambam used. What is it? Asechel shamash laratzon. There's a big question in life that you may ask people, they will be very confused when it comes to the answer. Who is a servant of whom? Who serves who? The brain, the intelligence, is a servant to your wills and to your senses, or it's the other way around? That your wills, your desire, your senses are actually here to serve your brain, your decisions that you make based on your knowledge. Which one came to serve who? And the answer is, unlike many people that think that the will and the senses came to serve the brain and the decision you make with your head, it's actually the other way around. The intelligence, your wisdom, your brain, your knowledge, all these things that connects to the brain, they all came to serve the person's will and desire. I give you an example. If a person loves to smoke cigarettes, he's into it, that's it, he's addicted. Whenever there is an argument if cigarettes is healthy for life or it's bad, good for you or bad for you, there is thousands of research and all kinds of articles by doctors and specialists that is one of the worst things to do is to smoke cigarettes. Destroys a person, cause cancer, cause diseases, makes so many problems, and many people die every year from cigarettes. And then every year they keep coming with more and more proofs about it. And people that smoke, obviously they see the difference. It's hard for them to breathe. Even now with the coronavirus, a lot of smokers die just because of that, because their lung could not handle the virus attack. But people that are healthy and not overweight and not smokers, they were able to come out of it. With some exception to the rules, of course. But so a person that smokes cigarette, whenever this question will rise, he would leave thousands of articles and all kinds of medical research, and will stick to one old-fashioned opinion from the 70s, that cigarettes is good. Why? It helps digestion, helps to fight constipation. When a person goes to the bathroom, it helps him, to get rid of the waste faster. That's what some people smoke in bathrooms. Sometimes you go into the bathroom, you see many people like to smoke inside bathrooms. Because of that, either belief or false belief, whatever you want to call it. Why would they leave thousands of research and stick to the one that nobody holds by? The answer is because they want to do it. Nothing is going to affect me now. That's what I like to do. That's what I would like to do. I do not want to live without that desire, without fulfilling my desire. So therefore, I'm going to use my head and my knowledge and my brilliance and my wisdom and everything I have to find enough proof and evidence to keep all my attackers away from me. What's the agenda here? What do you care what people say? So they come and they say to you, hey, cigarettes kill. Why you smoke? I love it. But it's going to kill you young. I'll die young. But it's not good. People around you suffer. Let them not stand next to me. Everything you can just answer and quick. No. But that's not how usually people don't answer like this. What do they say? No, it's not true. Don't worry. I will quit. Right now I'm still young. But that's okay. I'm doing a lot of exercise. You understand what's going on here? A person already made up his mind based on his desire. Now is using the head to serve his feelings. to back up his feelings and his desire. This is what the Rambam brings. So remember, whenever somebody asks you this kind of question, so the answer is that the intelligence, the wisdom, the knowledge, the sechel, what we call in Hebrew, in Hebrew is one word for all of it. Knowledge, intelligence, brilliance, wisdom, all of that included in one word, sechel. I don't think there's a word like this in English that includes all of it, all the above. And everything that connects to the brain, there's one word in Lashon HaKodesh. What is it called? Sechel. It covers everything. So the sechel is a servant to the ratzon, to my will, to what I want to do. Okay, remember this because it's very important throughout the series. So sometimes the will and the senses clog the brain, as the Rambam gives this example. When a person thinks, I thought like that, and I came to the conclusion and to the decision that that's what I should do and that's what I should not do. It came from the sechel, from my head. The Rambam says it's exactly the opposite. You wanted it for whatever reason. It's delicious, it's fun, it's pleasure, it will give you power. It will give you things that you're dreaming about, all kinds of things like this. And because you already wanted it, you already set up your head to back it up and to make a very valid case why you should have it. Whenever my children, when they were younger, they used to come and say, I want it, I need it, please, Abba, give it to me, I need it. I always made sure to tell them, no, you don't need it. You want it. There's a big difference between I need it or to I want it. When a person says I want it, sometimes it's good for him, sometimes it's poison for him. Still want it. When a person says I need it, the need, it means that it's the truth. You really need it, if not you die. You really need it, if not you're not going to have where to live. So that means I need it. I really need it. By the way, a lot of people that say I need it, they really mean I want it, obviously. But they don't really need it. So the Rambam says the exact opposite of what people think. So if I don't want something, now I think in my head how to explain why I shouldn't do it. Why don't you want this apartment, Moshe? He begins to look around. Oh, there's school nearby. No, there's a lot of kids here. We're going to have noise. And the building is not new enough. That's not why he doesn't want to live there. It's a different reason why. But he's embarrassed to say the reason. So he begins to use his head to, give excuses. And if we check ourselves carefully with objective eyes, we'll find that basically every hour of our life, it's a scam. We are all professional con artists that are busy our entire life how to fool who? Ourselves. Not only other people, to fool ourselves. We are actually the victim of ourselves. Why? Because if the heart will overcome the brain will be a servant to the heart. The brain won't do what it's supposed to do because you're using it for the wrong reasons. Only when you will able to understand that the heart should be put aside, detach it completely, and use your head and always analyze what's really good for me and what's bad for me, then you will find out that the decision will be totally different. So, because I decided that that's not good for me, that's what I actually started to explain, but the decision was made before I even opened my mouth and before I even started to use my head. The best example for that I know in the Torah is, the Gemara said the nation of Israel, they went to worship the golden calf, those who did, the ones who then surrounded with the Erev Rav, the ones that went and clap and circle it and dance around it. The reason they did it is not because they thought this is God, this piece of gold, no. And it's not because they really wanted to be idol worshippers. And it's not really because they wanted to rebel against God. And it's not really because they did not believe in Moshe Rabbeinu. So what's the case in that case? The answer the Gemara gives, it's very deep. They wanted to go and make scenes with the Goyot, these beautiful Goyot that were seducing them. I couldn't go. I just heard the voice of God in Mount Sinai 40 days ago. I mean, I was chosen from all the nations to be a son of God, the children of God. We are the chosen people. God told us we have to be holy. I'm your God that took you out of Egypt. You should never have another God. So the only way for me to go and do it is first to get released from these cords that call conscious. And the truth activate the conscious. So what's going on? First I have to break through this door. I have to open this door. This door is a real burden. I'm locked in. What is it called? This door, conscious. If I break the door, my conscience will stop bothering me. Then I'll be able to do whatever I want with no guilty feelings. What's the door in our case? Is they want to go and make sins with the women. What's the door? What's holding me in? What? I belong to the chosen nation. We just got a Torah. We have a Torah. We got the commandments. God spoke to us in the mountain. How will I go against it? Everyone wants me, are you normal? You're Bachur Yeshiva, you're going to make sins with this Goyot? So the answer is, okay, so I won't be a Bachur Yeshiva. So what's the step number one? I'll get rid of my hat. Then I get rid of the yarmulke. Then I get rid of the tzitzit. Then I get rid of the beard. I get rid of anything that connects me to that field, to that group. And now, once I'm released, nobody can come with any complaints. Hey, Moshe, what happened? What happened to you? Oh, I found mistakes. No, that's not what the rabbis say. They have thousands of excuses. Why all of a sudden is so busy looking for reasons to deny the Torah? Because they want to make sins. So what came first? First, they got tired of living according to the book. They want to live like pigs, like dogs. They do whatever they want. Pigs, dogs, horses. So I just want to be a pig. I want to eat everything. I don't want to report to anyone what I eat. I want to be with anyone I want. Nobody will limit me to one nation only. I want to do whatever I want in a business. I want to trick the customer, and I want this, and I want to sleep all day, and I want to use drugs, and I want. There's a whole list of desires. Once the list is there, and a person decided to surrender to his evil inclination, to his Yetzer Hara, from this moment on, the brain begins to be his lawyer. And that's what happened in a golden calf. How are we going to get rid of this? We're going to become idol worshiper, dance around the golden calf. Then nobody can come and ask, why did you go with Christine? What are you asking? Didn't you see me dancing yesterday around the golden calf? So what do we see? This is a lesson in psychology. Many of the things we do comes from totally different reasons. Totally different reasons. I was once a witness to a case. I have a friend that learned with me in yeshiva in Monsey, maybe 20-something years ago. This case was maybe 24 years ago. We were learning together, and one time this friend of mine decided to make aliyah. He was newly wed, he got married, and it was within the first year of his marriage. It was a little bit difficult for him financially here. And he decided to make aliyah to Israel. He went to the Rosh Yeshiva, and he asked him, back then, if you should move to Israel. Now, this guy, because he was learning when he was a kid in yeshiva until age 17, 18, so he had the Girsa de Yankuta, he knew a lot of Gemara. Then he went a little bit off the derech, and then he became Baal Tshuva. So a few years he was off, but he had all the knowledge. So once he came to yeshiva, he had advantage on people that were there for a year or two, because he learned for many years when he was a kid. And what you learn as a child, it's a great advantage. It's much harder to learn the same way like when you're a kid. Just the same thing with languages. People that came to America when they were very young, they have American accent. People that came here when they're already 12, 13, 14, that's already difficult. They already have the accent of where they were born and raised. It's very difficult because when you're young, everything is observed, like the Gemara say. So what happened with him? He was teaching the new guys that came to yeshiva. Teach them the Aleph Bet, the rules in the Gemara, teaching them Parashat Shavua. So he was an asset for the Rosh Yeshiva, an asset. Because he was saving him few $1,000s of paying a Rebbe to hire another Rebbe. Few Rebbes already, he has to pay them, and this guy is teaching for free while he's here. Fantastic. So he came to ask him, what should I do? Should I move to Israel? What did he say? No, it's not good for you, Israel. What are you going to do? Look, you're growing up so nicely here. Why would you want to go there? It's not the right time. Ask me in a year. Then he came to me. I'm his friend. Told me, no, the rabbi told me I should not go back to Israel. I said, why? Where do you want to go? To which yeshiva? One of the best yeshivot in the world he wants to go. Best yeshiva, much better than the yeshiva here. There's no question here. Much higher level. The progress over there will be tremendous for him. So I say to him, I don't understand. You're not happy here. Your wife is not happy here. You're basically wasting time. You can't grow that much here anymore. I mean, you reached the maximum that you can reach here. Why doesn't he let you go? Oh, I know why. Because you're saving him thousands of dollars every month. He cannot be objective. You should go and ask a different one. Not someone nagua badavar. And then he went to ask some big chacham, one of the big dolim, and immediately told him, absolutely, move quickly and go to that yeshiva. And the end of that story is that he went to that yeshiva for a few years, became big chacham, opened up his own kollel that has more than 80 avrechim learning there now. He's himself a big Rosh Yeshiva. And on top of everything now, he became one of the famous speakers in Israel, who was very popular all over. I wonder to myself, what would have happened if he would be stuck here? He could have been stuck here today, until today. There are guys who are here for 20 years. Well, imagine what would it be? Okay, so we'll be here 20 years, the same thing, teaching the new guys. Okay. So this is just an example how a person has an agenda. He cannot be objective. That's why he has to go to someone who has no connection to the question. He asks someone that's his personal agenda, he's getting benefits from it. It's very rare to find people that are honest to such a level that they can rule against their own will. I've seen people like this. Same question that they ask, should I stay in yeshiva or should I go somewhere else? Or should I come to your shiur or I should go to a different shiur that is more advanced? And they told the person what's good for them, not what's good for him. And then, it's like I say, it's not easy to find people like this. Therefore, better not to take a risk. You just go to a neutral person. It's a different person. There's no connection. And it is all connected to the same root of a problem. That the brain is a servant of your will. What is your will? That this guy will continue to teach for you for free for another 10 years? Now you are convinced. Not that he was a liar. Not that he was a scammer, not that he was lying to him and telling him. In his mind, he already saw that it's better for him to stay here. In his mind. Why is it? Because he must justify his will. And that's what life is all about, by the way. Every minute of life is like this. And the faster you get to understand this point, the better your decisions in life are going to be. So let's continue. So the Rambam say, based on the words of the Rambam, and the Rambam say, it's actually the exact opposite. I wanted it, and I started to think in my brain why it's good for me, why I should have it. For instance, the brain does not decide if you learn Gemara or chemistry. You have now 2 books here in your house. Chemistry book. Chemistry is nature. It's also Torah, in a way. Everything in nature is a part of Torah. Torah discusses nature in many places. Geometry, math, philosophy, psychology, everything you have in the Torah. Now you want to take a chemistry book from high school, I don't know, you know what, let me learn a little bit chemistry, I forgot my stuff, let me learn. The brain say, if you learn Gemara, that's going to be the result. If you learn chemistry, that's what's going to be the result. But the decision, what to learn, is based on your urges. What appeals to you right now more? Are you in a mood for Gemara? To break your head? Or you want something lighter? So the will is depend on many different things. But the heart is what's going to take the decision usually. For instance, many people went to learn in certain yeshivot, without mentioning names, in America and in Israel, and they confessed to me, the only reason I'm here is for the shidduch. Why? My chances to get a good girl here is much higher than if I would learn in that yeshiva. Even though the other yeshiva probably would be better for me as far as learning. It's maybe smaller, it's maybe will give me more attention over there. But I'm here for one purpose. What's the purpose? I want to get married. So I want to get married. Now my brain and my mouth will explain to the whole world why I'm learning in such a great yeshiva. No, that's not the real reason. The real reason is the desire to go and get married. Or one day he wants to be a famous rabbi. He wants the honor. He wants to wear a frock. He wants to walk on the street with someone that holds his hand and hold his books for him and drive him around, and everywhere he goes, people stand on line to kiss his hand. It's fascinating him. When he was a kid, he saw Rav Ovadia Yosef coming out of his car and thousands of people pushed to not just touch him and to get a bracha. And he saw another chacham, and he went to this rabbi, and he went to that rabbi, and he saw the books of this rabbi, what kind of endorsements he get. He said, one day will be one like this. What's the reason he learns Torah? He wants to be famous and powerful and rich and famous and get the honor of the Torah. Would he learn without all the above? Most likely not. He'll go into business. That's where he will get at least power and money. So here is an example. Then you ask another guy, go and be a famous rabbi. Come, let me publish you. Let me publish your lecture. I have a camera, I'm going to publish your... No, don't publish me. Why? Everybody should hear your Torah. No, I don't want distraction. I want to learn. I don't want people knocking on my door, coming for blessing. Rabbi, tell me, do. I don't want all this. Come give a lecture. No, I don't want to come give a lecture. I don't want to become famous. Why? I want to focus on Torah for the sake of learning. Why don't you publish your books? You have tons of papers. I'm waiting for Hashem to give me a clear sign when is the time to publish my Torah. Until then, no rush. No, but come on, you can... That's not why I'm learning Torah. I'm not learning Torah to use it for personal gain, such as money and fame and honor. So here you go. You have two different... So why are you learning Torah? Why? Because Hashem said so. Because I know it makes Hashem happy. And I know it will affect my life to be a much better person. And I don't want a frock, and I don't want a special hat, and I don't want titles on brochures, and I don't want PR, and I don't want headache. I don't want any of the above. Why? So here is a person that was able to detach his desires and heart. Don't get the wrong impression. It doesn't mean he doesn't have these desires. Because after all, most people would love this attention and kavod and all that. The Gemara says people would fake kavod, gava, pride, almost everyone is. But he already realized at one point in his life that these things is pleasant, but it's poison. So what's going to happen? I'm going to make sure that I'm going to stick to what's right. As much as I suffer, it doesn't matter. I must make it. I know two different kinds of people. People like this and people like that. And the best and most important thing is that Hashem also knows. Hashem choker klayot valev. He knows exactly if you're honest and you do it for the sake of heaven or you do it for different reasons. Therefore, when we speak about good and bad, it's very possible that both sides will be correct, accurate. It's nothing to do with emet or sheker. It could be that it's also emet, and it's at the same time it's a bad thing. For instance, not always you can tell someone something in his face, even though it's the truth. It's saying exactly what the Torah say. But right this moment, if you tell it to that child or teenager, do you know what will be the outcome of it? He's going to run out of home, and you won't see him for a month, and then he's going to join all kinds of gangs on the streets. And the next time you're going to see him, you're never going to be able to talk to him anymore ever again about the truth or about Torah, about religion. But I only say the truth. Yes, but even to say to that person the truth, you needed to find the right time for it and how to say it. So this is one example. For instance, I'll give another example. If a doctor say, I don't find a cure to that disease, this is truth. Like now we have the corona. They still don't know the cure for it. No vaccine and no cure. So it says, I cannot find the medicine for that virus or for that disease. It's truth, and it's also bad. He did not say lie. It's very bad. There's no medicine. Once you measure something with good and bad, it's possible that both options will be good, and it's not a contradiction. For instance, if sometime I miss you and sometimes I don't miss you, can we define it as true or false? No. We can only define it as good and bad. I miss you, good. I don't miss you, bad. It's bad for the relationship. Okay. Sometimes it's good to be with you. Sometimes it's not good to be with you. It's possible both options are correct. It's not a matter of true or false. It's a matter of good and bad. Can't measure it with true or false because it's two opposite things. When we speak about shidduchim, finding your soulmate, shidduch is measured by true or false or measured by good and bad? What do you think? That's really the question here. This all was a long introduction that I made for people to get the whole idea about it. Now we have to get to our point. What's the point? Now I have to make a decision. Going on a date with this girl or with this guy, analyzing, checking, making decision. Is this something that you measure with which tool? You have two tools in your hands, the truth and false tool, or like a lie detector, or good and bad measurer. Shows you it's good or bad. The answer, when it's speaking about shidduchim, we're talking about good and bad, not true and false. What it's determined based on what? It's determined based on my desire, my wills, my feelings, my character, my traits, what I like, what I don't like, taste. That's my taste. Personal desire. Like this image or that image. This color or that color. This height or that height. This kind of food she's going to make or that kind of food she's going to make. The more you put on a scale, the more you analyze it with good or bad, meaning I'm interested in it or I'm not interested in it. Not true and false, because it's for every different person, it's going to be a different measurement. So let's see. For instance, it's possible that both sides will be true. It's true and it's also bad. It's a lie and it's also good. It could be that both sides will be the same. For instance, one person wake up positive feelings in you and sometimes negative feelings in you. Depend on what he does, depend on what he wears, depend on his mood, depend on the subject that he talks about. Some people, they're very good heart. When we speak about chesed, they're fantastic. They suggest generous help, to volunteer, to do, count on me, take me, I'll send, I'll do, no problem. When you speak about the principles of Judaism, they are total infidels. Democrat, pro-abortion, pro-Hussein Obama, pro-Bernie Sanders, pro all the evil things that exist in the world, they are pro. At the same time, they'll give their heart for you. They'll be in the hospital, come every day, they bring a cake, they sit with you. There's no contradiction. And one thing is good and the other thing is horrible. Sometimes he will speak about chesed, you'll be very impressed by him. He will speak about the truth of the Torah, he will always say the opposite of the truth. The Gemara says everything Balabai tells you, do the opposite. If you have a businessman that's not knowledgeable in Torah, he's good in a lot of things, but not Torah. Everything he will give you as an advice, usually the truth will be the opposite, the truth of the Torah. He'll give you advice in business, maybe it will be correct. In medicine, maybe it will be correct. But if he'll give you advice about what the Torah says it's correct, what the Torah wants you to do, usually it will give you the opposite advice of the truth. So, we cannot come and claim, how is it possible? How come sometimes this guy is waking up positive things by me and sometimes I'm allergic to him or to her? Because sometimes you feel like this and sometimes you feel the opposite, sometimes you're good with that and sometimes you're bad with that. But not only that, it gets even deeper. Sometimes with the same topic, you feel good with that and the next week you feel bad with that. If you speak to the girl about one topic, today you felt very good about what she said. A week later you have the same conversation, you feel horrible. How can it be? How come sometimes she wakes up something that makes you feel great, and the next week she makes you, same exact conversation more or less, makes you feel horrible? Depend on your mood. Depend on your mood. Maybe a week ago you had weakness at that time. Spiritually you're very weak. The thing she spoke to you about was not the greatest. But you felt good about it because you were in a very low spiritual level in that particular time. And then you did such great tshuva and you learned a lot of Torah and you elevated your soul. And now you come to the same topic and it makes you want to vomit. Why is it? Things by you change. They did nothing different. Or sometimes you would love what you wear, and a year later you can't stand it. Why? Because after a while you realize that this is too flashy. It's not modest. It attracts attention. So your subconscious learned to hate it. As we explained in a previous lecture, it does as a defense mechanism of the brain that automatically, despite something, you don't have to do anything, automatically. You already convince yourself that it's horrible, the brain will begin a war against that something. That until it goes into your subconscious, you don't want to look at it anymore. What happened? You used to love it very much. It's not the way of the Torah. I'm embarrassed. Sometimes a Baal Tshuva would look at pictures from his childhood when he was a teenager. He looks at the clothes he was wearing. He looks at the way his hair used to be. And he's so sad and disgusted by the way he was. Immediately he runs and destroyed all the pictures. Why? He's so ashamed of how he dressed. Even though back then it was the most important thing in his life, and how many hours he wasted in getting these clothes and running to stores, and how happy he was when he was wearing these strange clothes that he used to wear. So you see, Rabotai, that things are relative, as we can see, and we'll move on, we'll understand maybe the picture a little bit more clearer. So it says like this, and we have a question that we still did not answer, to check about shidduch by friends. We have to know how much value to give to this kind of question that you're going to ask. If we say that we are judging it with good and bad, and not true and false, anyway, every person has different good and bad. What he likes, you may hate. What he hates, you may like. What good is as reference? He may come and say, she speak about this. For you it's fantastic. That's what got him disgusted. He may come and say, she watched some show. Maybe you are watching the same show. So you say, wait a minute, I'm nothing better than her. Why should I put an X on her? If I'm worse than her. For him, it's maybe in a very high level. She's not good for him. Or the other way around. The other guy can come and say, I don't want her. She's too in the box, too nerdy, too square. She's not open-minded. The word open-minded today sometimes means wicked. Some people, they don't want to say wicked. So he's not open-minded. Oh, I love this speaker. He's open-minded, meaning allow me to do whatever I want. That's what it means, open-minded. Okay? Or they found another word for a scammer, for a crook. What is it? Politically correct. Sugar coding. This is nice words for a crook. Someone that will teach false information. Purposely. Not accidentally. Accidentally may happen to everyone, but routinely. Even though people challenged him and send him messages, he will continue to teach his nonsense. Why? That's his agenda. He's gaining something out of it. So, when we ask the reference or the friend, oh, you dated this girl, what can you tell me about her? It's not so important what he's going to say. Unless he's going to say serious things that she's totally against the Torah. Okay, well, I don't want to marry someone like that. Okay, but if it's just a matter of taste, I don't like how she dresses. I don't like the colors of what she dresses. I don't like her nationality. Could be your friend is a racist. The world is full of them. Everywhere you go, even by the most ultra-Orthodox congregations, you have racist people. They can't stand someone that is not like them. So maybe he's a racist, but you not. Okay? So we'll give an example. Everyone will buy a watch. They will buy a different watch. You go, there's 500 watches. You will choose this and you will choose that. Most likely two people that go to the same store will not want the same exact watch. Right? So if you have 50 people, most likely each one of them will buy a different watch. But not all 50 will choose the same one. So that's not a matter of true and false. That's a matter of what's good in my eyes and what's bad in my eyes. Everyone will enjoy different design. You cannot stand that. But that doesn't mean it's bad for him. It makes him very happy. In the kind of crowd he's hanging out with, people appreciate this strange watch. Strange according to you. If you will bring his watch into your congregation, the people that you're hanging up with in your yeshiva, they'll look at you like you're very strange. What, you off the derech? What is this watch? Next time, put a watermelon on your hand. It's going to take less attention than this huge watch with all these colors. But if it's the other way around, you take a very simple, down-to-earth watch, and he's going to put it by his friends. I say, what happened to you? Crazy? You sick? What is this watch? You used to have a nice one. Why you put this one? Right? Because according to them, that's what they understand. By some places, if you don't have tattoos, you don't count. Everyone drawing themselves all this stupid drawing. So you don't have it, you're not cool. In some places, if you don't take drugs, you're not welcome, you're not cool. Right? In some places, you don't have a Harley Davidson motorcycle, you can't come here, you can't come to this bar. It's only for Harley. These big gorillas on a Harley that go all over the United States and finish cans of beer by the minute. You don't belong here. You don't bring beer. You don't have this hair. You don't have this long beard, flying with the wind, and a big belly, and a big motorcycle. What are you going to do here? Don't smoke drugs. You don't belong here. You don't like rock and roll music. So we understand the point here. Person can be divided to different categories. And that's a matter of good and bad according to each person. So, if we begin to understand what it means to love, somebody asks you, define love. Define love. What is a love? Desire? To miss the beauty of someone? To miss the intimacy? What does it mean to love? To miss laughing together? To miss listening to music together? To miss learning Torah together? To miss giving each other gifts? What does it mean love? Or all the above? We begin to understand how things are changing from one individual to another. Very rarely you're lucky enough to find a spouse, a soulmate, that in most things you are in the same page. You love the same music, you have the same taste in clothing, in furniture, in house, in opinions, in ideology, in hashkafa, Torah, all kinds of things like this. If you have that, you're really a lucky person. If you don't have it, now we have to analyze how critical is the differences. Sometimes it won't be enough to ruin a relationship. No big deal. So you're not the same. So you don't love everything the same. So only 80% you love the same. Only 50%. Who's to say that you must be the same? Sometimes the differences are so big you won't be able to last 1 week together. It depends on the case. Everyone see and feel different. As it's written, Al kol hapsha'im techaseh ahava. The love covers all the crimes. What does it mean? You can see negative in someone you love. It's very difficult. Not that you're blind, not that you're stupid. I mean, if you see you're going out with a man and he's screaming everywhere he goes and he's behaving horrible, of course you see it. But you see it with forgiving eyes. Why? For your own reasons. You're afraid to lose him. So now the brain goes to be the lawyer of the heart. The heart doesn't want to live without him or without her. The brain is going to come for help. Oh, Miriam, don't worry. It's not the only angry person. What do you think? If you're going to leave him and go with someone else, it's going to be less angry? So what? He's only getting angry when people getting him angry. You know why he's getting angry? Because he's a man of principles. You know, all kinds of excuses like this. So everyone that you are connected to, you will put your trust in them. And you love them, and you don't see any problems with them. When someone comes and talks to you about them, automatically you become defensive. What? What are you talking about? How can it be? Maybe you're looking at things not objectively and you're not seeing what you're supposed to see. Therefore, it's very important to know that evaluation of a situation, of someone, has nothing to do with emet and sheker, because everyone sees it from a different point of view. Therefore, what you have to check, if you check about wisdom, talent, beauty, everyone will tell you something else. She's pretty? I don't think so. Ask the next guy who dated it. She's pretty? Actually, the look was not the problem. She's very pretty. But she's not so smart. You ask the first guy, she's smart? Very smart, but not pretty. Second one will tell you the other way around. This guy, oh, I love her personality because she's like this. The next one will say, I hate her personality because it was like this. How are you going to make a decision? You have to check it on yourself. That's why if you want to check by friends, in advance, you have to know whatever they say is just for general impression. My decision is not going to be made based on what the references say. Nothing. What? Because they have personal opinions about it. They're not objective. Sometimes when you speak to a Talmid Chacham, you can see he knows to tell the difference between my personal opinion about the person and what you're asking me. You ask, is she Ba'alat Chesed? Depend compared to who? She does Chasadim, if that's what you ask. Is she doing enough or not? I don't know. I can't tell you. You ask if she does, she does. Okay, next question. Do you think she's modest? According to this kind of Jews, the ultra Orthodox are very makpid? No. According to them, yes. I'm not bringing my own opinion. Which one you think, according to you, Rabbi, she's modest enough? I'm not a decision maker for you here. You ask questions, I answer you. Dry answers. What I saw, what I know, that's it. I don't tell you I think you should do it, you should not do it, maybe you should reconsider. It's not my business. That's not what you ask me. So later we'll have to ask a question is, what happens if this person is about to make the mistake of his life? You know something about that person, If you're not going to reveal it when it comes to shidduchim, that girl will go and marry him, or the other way around, and their life will be for sure destroyed. Maybe they're big criminal, they did some big crimes and the police is after them, maybe they're drug addicts, maybe all kinds of other things. Maybe they have mental issues that cannot be resolved. Some mental issues are minor. A person take a pill here and there and it's okay. Some mental issues are critical. You cannot survive a month in a relationship with this kind of mental. And today, unfortunately, I see more and more and more people having serious mental issues. Serious. And that jeopardizes the entire marriage institution by many places. And so many people over the years, I'm talking many hundreds of people, guys and girls, when called me and cried to me about their divorce or about the battle to get divorced or about their situation in a marriage, this problem is one of the most common problems. Mental sicknesses, serious issues, unfortunately. So things like this could have been checked carefully before. If you knew about it, are you allowed to hide it? There are rules. What you must say, what you don't say. Something that for sure would ruin the life of a person, you must say. Not every sickness you must reveal. Not everything you think is a bad trait you have to reveal. The idea is don't run to generate too much information. Soon Rav Hoffman will explain when it comes to shidduchim what you're allowed to say, what you're not allowed to say. Maybe I'm running a little bit ahead. So let's move on. The truth is, the assumption is that whatever you're going to check with people, you assume the more people I speak to, the more information I get. The longer the conversation would be, the more information I'm going to accumulate. I gather information. The more information I have, it will help me to decide if I want to go out with this girl or with this guy. So you're going to let them speak a lot. You're going to try to find a lot of objective things that they're talking about. Not necessarily everything is true. Because everyone look at this thing as a main thing and the other one is secondary. By the other person is the other way around. According to their own personality. And it's mainly coming from the subconscious, and the person is not even aware of it. For instance, if you speak to a Hasidic guy, ask about a reference. He will judge the girl with the Hasidic eyes. They look at certain things that someone that is Litvish would not look, or Sephardi would not look. Different. You speak to a Chabadnik. You ask a Chabadnik about a guy. If the guy doesn't have a beard, he immediately will put an X on him. Why? Because the most important thing in the eyes of a Chabadnik is the beard. As I'm talking about the look, the religious look. The beard is mamash yareg velo yavor. Why? Because they go according to the Ari, Kabbalah. So if you ask a Litvish guy about another guy that doesn't have a beard, almost no one in their yeshiva has a beard. He won't even look at it as a problem. I ask the Chabadnik, immediately he will have negative approach about that guy. Why? Comes from the subconscious. Because all his life, he heard and learned that the beard is so important. Adrat panim, Kabbalistic, So here is an example how everyone will push his own understanding and agenda, what he likes, what he hates, what's important, what's not important. You ask a Litvish guy, there are other things that are critical by him that maybe not so critical by the Hasid. For instance, if a Hasid will know that one of his friends is lazy, doesn't go every day to the mikveh, immediately would look at him as a shegetz, or a partial shegetz, meaning not so great. If you ask a regular, not Hasidish guy, he goes to the mikveh only on Shabbat, for Shabbat, on Friday, that's it. On Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and special occasion. But he doesn't go every day. He goes, get up, go to the yeshiva. So he won't look at it as a negative thing. He won't even bring it to the conversation. If you ask the other guy, well, listen, look, he's not 100% like us. He doesn't do this and he doesn't do that. This is just, I'm making up some example for us to understand how it works. So that's why the asking about people, what's their opinion about specific things, we have to say in Hebrew, we have to say, take it be'eravon mugbal. Take it, but it's not al pi ze yakum davar. This has to be the main reasons for your decision. So, for instance, all these things about wisdom and talent is according to who is looking. Behaving, traits, personality, everybody looks at it according to his mental state, and according to the way he was raised, and according to the way he was educated. That's why you should never make a final decision, an absolute decision based on what you heard from people. You still have to give more weight to what you see and check and experience in your own eyes. That's the most important thing, meaning dating. That's why it's very dangerous to just meet once or twice and get married. Very dangerous. Why? As you can see today, a lot of people who did it destroyed their life. I'm not coming to tell anybody what to do. I know by other groups that's what they believe that it should be done. Okay, if that's what they think it's the truth. I'm not putting an X on what they think. Maybe they know something we don't know. But from my 25 years of experience dealing with people, I've seen that everything in life that you rush into, usually you pay a very, very serious price. It doesn't mean that sometimes it won't work. You got lucky. You dated once or twice, you decided that's for me, okay, good. And it worked. It can happen. But sometimes it won't work. And sometimes you find out after a week they want divorce already. And they scream, mekach ta'ut, hundreds of cases. Those who date once or twice, hundreds of times I heard. A week later, they're already in a bed din. They didn't finish the Sheva brachot sometimes. Why? She just found out about him something that there was no, she had no idea. But maybe if she dated him 2 months, too long, it's also bad. Too long, it's also, they ask Rav Eliashiv, what's better, a long shchita knife or shorter? He said, the longer it is, the more chances to have bumps in it. The shorter it is, the less chances to have bumps, because it's shorter. That was his answer to someone who asked if we should date for a long period of time or for a short period of time. Meaning, don't go for months. Try to keep it, try to check, ask a lot of questions, but don't drag it for months. It's also not good. I know some people, they waited, and now all of a sudden when they were at the date for marriage, came the coronavirus and stuck everything. They can't get married now for 2 months, maybe 3 months, who knows, now Omer. You never know what can happen. Now let's go deeper. To explain why it's very difficult to evaluate and to define situations about people, other people. When we evaluate the situation, it depends on many, many concepts and details, which most of them are coming from the subconscious. That's why it's so difficult to recognize it. It's very difficult to find a person that will know to separate between conscious and subconscious to an objective reality. You see a teenager behave in a certain way. You don't know why he behaves like this. Why you don't know? Because you're not an expert. But if you were a psychologist like Rabbi Hoffman, in 5 minutes conversation with a kid, he would already know where it comes from and be able to help him. For instance, his mother died when he was a kid. He grew up without a mother. He grew up with an aunt or foster family or something like that. That's a massive impact on the way he behaves. What do you expect? Some do not grow up with any parents. One person grew up with a very aggressive father that abused him very much, verbally, physically. Sometimes it's the mother that take all her anger on that little miserable child. Sometimes it's the school he grew up in, the neighborhood. Sometimes it's his look. Very insecure because of the way he looks. You need to be experienced and to know a lot about life and about personality and about the subconscious of people to be able to find why they do certain things. The explanation for that is if a person behave and react based on his personal feeling that he gets from his environment, every person that meets with the other acting according to what the other person reflects on him. A relationship between two individuals, two partners, a seller and a customer, a husband and wife. All these couples that have interaction, usually a person is not aware of it. It all goes in from the subconscious. For instance, the face. You were raised with a special mentality. Therefore, without knowing, you like people and hate people based on the color of their skin. If somebody will come and say to you, no, you're a racist. I'm racist? Did you ever hear me say something against white people or black people or this kind of people? Never in my life. What are you talking about? If you find me one time I said something, I'll give you a prize. And he's not lying. He will never dare to say. And even if you connect him to a lie detector and ask him, are you a racist? It's absolutely not. I'm nothing against anyone. But if you hypnotize him, go deeply into his subconscious, you find out that he likes white people and not dark, or the other way around. And why is it? Because his father, when he grew up, used to make comments, which goes into his subconscious as a kid, as a baby. And it affects the way he looks at things. Even though he understands it's not the proper thing to speak about it. And he, with his conscience, despite this kind of behaving, but when he will make choices in life without realizing, he usually will go to the people he likes more, and it comes from his subconscious. Also the look of a people in general, regardless of color. The look. You'll love people that look this way, or people that look that way, tall, short, heavy, not heavy. It all comes from the subconscious. The color of their clothes, it can have a very negative effect on you. As we gave an example with the red color, if you remember in the first lecture, I believe it was. Soon we're going to get to it. So, when you have a difference in a feeling, when you meet with a rabbi or a friend or a different person, everyone will reflect on you a different thing. From subconscious to subconscious. The way he smiles at you, the way he's sincere about what he says, it will make impact on your subconscious to help you to make certain decisions. If you meet with a girl, many times she reflects on you what you reflect on her. Meaning, she gets from you and she reflects back to you the same thing. For instance, if you date her now, you will make a mistake in your observation. You're not aware that what caused you not to want to go on a second date was the color of her dress. Because it ignites in your subconscious something negative. She wears a red dress. You don't like it, but you don't think right now that that's the reason you don't want to go on another date. They begin to investigate you, your parents, the shadchan. What's not good about her? She wasn't religious enough? No, she's very religious. She wasn't smart? No, actually she speaks very interesting. She's very clever. No, so what's the problem? I really don't know. But I don't think it's worth it to go another day. He doesn't know. Why is it? When he was a kid, he saw a big tragedy with lots of blood in the water. I don't know, shark eating someone. Everything became red. It affected his subconscious drastically. It makes a trauma by him. Trauma. And he forgot about it. In his conscious, if you ask him now, hey, do you remember what happened when you were 4 years old in that city? Remember, you were there, you witnessed that tragedy. Oh, yeah, wow, I forgot about it. What? But until today, 20 years later, it's still affecting him tremendously, and every time you see red color, it ignites something negative to him about that person who wears it. Or different things with red color. He will never choose it. Anytime he choose clothes, whatever, any bags, books, he may not even want to take a book because it's red cover. And he doesn't understand why. But it comes from the subconscious. Sometimes a person comes with a bad mood. Let's say she had a rough day. She came to the date because you say, I'm in town. If it's not today, it will be next month. Okay, so she came, but she came with a bad mood. Something is affecting her. Immediately it affects you. It's a reflection. It affects your mood as well. Sometimes it's nothing to do with you. For instance, he comes to the date with the same mood that he had in the house before he left. For instance, if there was a fight in the house, like let's say the girl, when she comes to the date, she went through a big fight with her mother about what to wear for the meeting, for the date. Wear this, no, I like this, no, he won't like it. Start with this is more, this is not, this is more. She already come exhausted mentally after an hour argument. That affects his subconscious in a meeting. He doesn't know why she's like this. He thinks maybe she doesn't like him. So he cannot analyze why she was like this. So he's thinking maybe she doesn't like me, maybe she didn't like what I say, maybe she didn't like what I dressed with, my clothes. The inside, the subconscious are making critical decisions for us without us being aware of it. A person has to learn in his life to develop personal way to review and to analyze and to see deep into the powers that works inside him deeply, in the side of his mind, in the subconscious. The Gaon Mivilna, the Gra, he said, when something is checked by few advisors from different points of view, then it can become more objective. If you ask opinion of one person, it's very difficult. Well, how do you know? He's gave you an objective answer. But if you ask 5, everyone told you, now you can find that there's a lot of mutual things between the 5. They all say the same thing. Oh, that's for sure true. Almost for sure. But if about something else, each one of them saying something different, then it's depend on the person, and then let's check how it's going to be by me. For instance, if we want to understand how the system works, we'll give you an example of what I just gave before, a little bit elaborated more, the color of the clothes. Today, it's agreed almost by 100% by experts that you can characterize the person by the color of the clothes he wears and likes to wear. You learn a person draw, not wear, choose. Not only wear, choose in everything in life. In furniture, you can choose a lot of different colors, but you see that there is certain colors he likes. For instance, if you can see by young kids, if you tell the kids, take crayons and draw some kind of a picture or stickers with all kinds of, stick the sticker, and you check him every day, and you find, usually he will choose always the same color. The way you do the checking is, you have to check few times in different times. Each time you check once, not few times repeat. One time now, one time 2 days from now, one time in the evening, one time in the morning. Why? Because sometimes things that happens to him shortly before can affect his choices. That's why you have to repeat it a few times. After that, and based on the images that he draws, you can analyze his character. For instance, if you tell him, draw a tree. By the way he will draw a tree, the branch, the leaves. You can know a lot about his personality. It's very interesting. It's mamash, almost like a precise science. The color that a person chooses shows his character. For instance, someone that chooses the color brown, it's the color of the ground, of the land. That shows that he's a natural person with warm approach. Someone that chooses gray is apathic. Someone that chooses red, it shows that he has some kind of attraction to violence. Violence doesn't mean that he has to be a murderer or to go and hit up people. But for instance, the existence of violence around him triggers some attraction by him or by her. Yellow show optimism. Someone that chooses yellow colors is an optimistic. Rabbeinu Bechaye in Parashat Tetzaveh elaborates, and he brings the words of Chazal that he explained the difference between the 12 tribes according to each tribe color that had in the 12 stones in the Choshen of the Kohen Gadol. Each tribe has a color according to their nature. It's very interesting. You can choose it on yourself. If you enter a room that the walls are painted black, how would you feel? If the walls will be red, strong red, very bright red, how will you feel then? Same size of room, same room, just different paint. Same furniture, just the color of the walls is different. The color of the walls can change your mood completely and can change your decision from one side to another, 180 degrees. Something that looks so not important could be the main reason for your choices. It's interesting. So when we speak about dating, the color of the clothes that the girl wears influence the guy very much, or the other way around. Some girls are very creative. They will wear what they like. Some girls will wear what fashion like right now. What color goes in fashion right now? Today, in the last year, it's black. No. Now a year later, yellow is in style now. Green is in style. She eliminates her own taste to the style. Why? She wants to be accepted by society, to be cool, to attract attention, and she understands what I like, it's not what's in style. So I have to give in for style. Some people say, who cares about style? I don't care, I want to feel good with myself. I want to wear something, it's my taste. Some people will wear what the spouse like. She wear what her man likes, and he wear what his woman likes. He doesn't care about style, and he doesn't care about what he likes. Or he would wear only what she say to him, oh, that's nice. I love this. Okay, so from now on he's going to wear it. Oh, I didn't like that jacket. Okay, from now on this jacket will accumulate a lot of dust. Why is it? Because the most important thing for him is that she would like how it looks. Or for her, how her husband would like how she looks. But some people don't care husband so much or wife so much. They care what people around would say. Husband is used to me already. I'm his already. He's mine. Or what is he going to do? Leave me because I wear certain colors? No. That's how they think. So you see, everyone reacts different. Even in that, even in red, there are different levels. In gray, there are different, light gray, dark gray, yellow, different kind of yellow, light yellow, very strong yellow. Even that, it shows about the personality of a person. So what a person wear in the first meeting, first date, influence very much the person who is dating or she is dating. We have to understand how the system works and how complicated it is. But Sometimes it's not a color she actually ordered. Maybe she borrowed it from a friend and that's what the friend has to give her. Maybe she went to the store in the last minute because she lost a lot of weight and the clothes that she has, nothing is matched. She went in the last minute and there was nothing there except these colors. And she had to choose from something she doesn't like because she doesn't have what to wear at all. Okay, that could be also that. Maybe her mother or friends forced her to wear it. Oh, you look great with that. It not necessarily mean it's her taste. Sometimes there is contradiction. From the clothing, you get one feeling, and from what she say, you get the opposite feeling. That's why, even though it's pretty precise, things like this, you should be aware not to make these things make the main reason of your decision. The only way you can eliminate some of those feelings is if you get to learn about your subconscious and about the subject in general. You know body language. For instance, this is a huge advantage to know body language. You sit with a person, in 1 minute, based on the way the body moves, her or his, you already know more about them than the entire 3-hour conversation of what they say about themselves. You already know from the body language when they say the truth and when they say a lie. You know if they enjoy the date or they're suffering in a date. For instance, when you ask the girl, would you like to continue? Should we order something else or are you in a rush to go? Of course, she's embarrassed to say I'm in a rush to go. So she would say, no, yeah, of course, you can order whatever you want. I actually like it. But you can see from her body language that she hates the date. You can see right away she's dying to leave already. Or the other way around. Many times a person will go on a date, first date, half of the date he plays with his phone. That could be a few reasons for it. One reason, that he's an idiot. And we have some idiots out there. What can we do? Second reason is he's not interested in her. So the meeting is very boring. He knew after 1 minute he's not interested. So he's thinking, I'm stuck here for an hour or two. I might as well check messages. Okay? Third reason, it's a total opposite. He has no confidence. He's embarrassed. He's a shy guy. He never dated a girl. First time in his life, he speaks to a girl seriously. She asks personal question. It kills him. He doesn't know what to do. He needs a place to run to. Where will he run to? To his phone or to the bathroom every 2 minutes. That doesn't mean he didn't find interest in her. That doesn't mean he's an idiot. So you see, even the same transaction, it depends where it comes from. If you don't know body language, it's very difficult. If you know body language, then it will help you very much to read people, to know what they're interested in and what they're not interested in. Before time is running out, I want to read the words of the Gra, of the Gaon Mivilna, of his commentary on Mishlei, Proverbs. U'tshu'a berov yoetz. Tshu'a means salvation. Berov yoetz, rov means a lot, plural. Yoetz means advisor. It means that the more advice you're going to get, the more and closer your salvation is. Let's read. כי אם יהיה אחד על כל אנשי המלחמה, there's now an army. He's talking about an army now. If there will be one commander in charge of all the soldiers, שעל פיו יצאו ועל פיו יבואו, based on his decision they will go to a war, to a battle, and based on his decision they will return from a battle. ולא אחרים זולתו, and no one else besides him, רק אחד הוא לבדו, only him himself, אינו טוב. It's not good. One person is on the entire army, not good. כי שכל אנושי אפשר לטעות, a person can make mistakes. Even smart people make mistakes. ועולה בשכלו שהוא טוב, he would think in his mind that he's good, ובאמת אינו טוב, and really it's not good. ואם יהיו הפחות והסגנים רבים, if it will be deputies, people, a committee, a board, people that makes decisions together, everyone brings his own opinion, and you will realize your mistake when you listen to other people. And in the end, they will reach a unanimous decision after reviewing everyone's opinion. They vote, or they make a decision. He can still veto it as the president, but he has Congress. They also make decisions. So, if there will be too many people and everyone has a complete different opinion, it's also not good. Too many. And you never know what to choose. There's גם זה not טוב. Because every person has his own opinion. And the brains of one person is not equal to the other. And everybody will begin to fight. That's also not good. So, after he will review all the opinions, there will have to be one person who makes the final decision. But this Yeshua, this Tshuah, אינו רק ברוב. It doesn't mean that it's only with a lot of people. That's why it said ברוב יועץ. יועץ could be one individual. One smart, very smart person, like a very big rabbi that has life experience, that saw everything that happens until now. Everything. There's not one thing he didn't see through people. And that could be also very good advice. Like in Israel, even big generals and the prime ministers, when they had a big decision about war and about attacking and about retaliating, they went to Chacham Ovadia Yosef. It was well known in his books. The government ministers of defense and prime minister many times came, Rabbi, tell us what to do. What do you mean? You were the chief of command for 4 years, the entire Israeli army. And after that, you were the minister of defense for another 4 years. You have 8 years of experience of running the show. You're coming to a rabbi all his life, learn Gemara and Torah, and give shiurim? Yes. First, he knows Torah, and he knows the mind of people, and he knows psychology a million times better than you. No matter how much you have experience with the army, that's one thing. Second, he has siyata dishmaya from Hashem to make the right decisions. You understand? He eats kosher, he thinks kosher, his mind is in Torah, he watches his eyes, his midot, he works on his midot for many years, he's more humble. So Hashem has more incentive to give him the right answer than to someone else. I've already seen some of the decisions that were made 100% based on the opinion of the rabbi. I have a friend that he was a minister of defense in Israel. We were very good friends. And he was sitting in Israeli cabinets, and he was telling me all kinds of stories, how they came to Rav Ovadia with this prime minister, with that prime minister, and what was the topic over there. And it's unbelievable. Mamash, critical decisions were made in his learning room. And Baruch Hashem, it turns out very good. But this is what it means, Rabotai. A person not always can be the advisor of himself. That's why people go to big rabbis to get advice. Problem is, if a big rabbi have no idea who you are, it's also dangerous. As much as he can detect from a 10 minutes conversation with you, not always can be enough. Better you consult with someone who also have a lot of knowledge, but also knows a lot of Torah, or also knows about you. Not only knows a lot of Torah, also knows who you are, your family, your background, your learning skills, your personality, and he can give you the right advice. About a while, someone came to me and asked me about a guy who has very bad traits. I didn't know what to answer. Especially I saw in a book Yam Shel Shlomo, in the end of Masechet Baba Kama, it brings that there used to be some giant rabbis who used to have horrible problems from their wives. I thought something like this could have been prevented if they would check about those wives before the rabbi married her. Why they didn't check about her personality? You know, maybe, you know, if the rabbi would check very carefully, he wouldn't have to run through this. So, חשבתי שמסתמה ולכתחילה היה אפשר למנוע את זה. It could have been prevented. If someone would tell them before they got married. That's why I have a dilemma. They suggested to one guy, they suggested to one family a guy that is not behaving properly. Do I have an obligation to save them? Is it my place to tell them this guy is very angry? He has short fuse. This guy is very proud, full of ego. This guy is very lazy, can't get up in the morning. Is this my responsibility to tell them? This guy is attracted to all kinds of goyish stuff. Is this my responsibility to tell them, or let them find out on their own? First, when people come and check with you, that's the answer. If they ask you about something specific, as one thing, and if you yourself say things, it's a whole different thing. There's a difference between when they ask you about clear thing, about specific thing, right? Or about definitions that you can explain it in many ways. There is a wide range of a way to analyze it. You can analyze it with this severity, with that severity, not so strong. Don't make a big deal out of it. Make a big deal. Repeat it a few times. Don't repeat. Say it by the way. Say it with the highlight. So it depends how you say, how you present it. If somebody asks you about the Khatan, about the guy, maybe you are very related to the family, to the side of the Khatan. You're friends with the father, you're friends with maybe they donate money to your yeshiva, you can see objective. And if they ask about the side of the Kala, maybe sometimes the other way around, maybe you are obligated to the side of the Kala, of the girl. So, when it comes to something like this, obviously you have to be neutral. And if you feel that you cannot be objective, better not to answer at all. You say, listen, I'm a friend of a family. I know they maybe use me as a reference. Why they use him as a reference? Because for sure he's our lover. He's going to say nice things about me. But you already know that it could be clogging your judgment. So you say, I'd rather not say anything because I'm a friend of a family and for sure I'm going to say everything good. Or you will say the good things that he for sure knows, but will make sure he say to the person, don't ask me only, ask other people because I'm a friend of a family. I want someone else to tell you, whoever knows them, whoever does business with them, neighbors, whatever the case is. Before we go deeply into explaining the foundations, we have to learn carefully the book of Chafetz Chaim. There is a book, Chafetz Chaim, Alav Shalom, about 100 years ago. Was the biggest tzaddik perhaps in the whole world. And he wrote this legendary book, The Laws of Lashon Hara, Gossip, Rechilut, Lashon Hara, all these things. Over there he explained when the Lashon Hara is permitted, when it's not permitted, when you're supposed to say, when you're not supposed to say. Because sometimes to speak Lashon Hara about a person is a mitzvah. For instance, I have a list of 14 infidel speakers that murder souls on a daily basis. Every day they murder souls. Each one of them, as long as they speak, more and more Jewish souls are going down the drain. So, it's mitzvah to publish that list. All these people who got that list from me, publish it. Many people challenged me on the list. I send them sources. I don't have the time for it. I hope nobody will take now this as an offer to send me more challenging. But I send it to many people. I send them videos. I send them parts from lectures. And they were shocked completely. And the interesting part is that these people that listened to them for 3 years and they still could not see the heresy. That's how shallow some of the people can be. Either because they are ignorant, they don't have Jewish foundation, they never learned correctly in yeshivot. Or their entire life they learned from clowns. It's also possible, so they really don't know anymore. But on the other hand, I have people that are very good, without yeshiva background, women even, that right away say, I'm suspecting that some of the people I listen to are not kosher. They say things that contradict verses from the Torah. That's my understanding. I would like to get your list because I want to verify. And after I send the list, oh my gosh, this one is on the top of your list, I see. I was suspecting that what he says is incorrect. What took you so long to check? Baruch Hashem, better late than never. So first you have to learn when you're allowed to speak about someone, when you're not allowed to speak. You have to warn the world from them. It's people that murdering souls, people that make other people commit sins. You must expose them. Must. You have a pedophile in the neighborhood. You go to the police do nothing about it. They don't care. Sometimes they don't care. Sometimes they care, sometimes they don't care. Only Hashem knows why. Maybe they're too busy now. Maybe there's demonstration. I don't know. Maybe they have shortage in detectives. I don't really know. Sometimes the police is productive. Sometimes they are worthless. Right now the police is not doing their job. He walks around near a kindergarten. What's your obligation? To ignore it? What is it my problem? I don't have little kids. No, you're criminal. You have to save all the people. Right away you have to come to the one in charge, show him the person. This is very dangerous. He was convicted already. This is very dangerous. He cannot control himself. He can harm one of these kids and destroy their life. It's called lo ta'amod al dam recha. If you're allowed to save someone's life before someone molests him or murder him, billion times needless to say to save his soul from an infidel, from these liberal lefty speakers who speaks the exact opposite of what Hashem wants. You understand? To come and say in a speech, there's nothing to claim against the secular people. Nothing is wrong with them. Everything they do, if any, we have to blame Hashem. He puts us here 2,000 years. We are with no connection to Him. There's no Bet HaMikdash. What does He want from us? So, whatever we do, not only we don't deserve a punishment, we deserve a reward. Besides being a total fool, speaking like this, and not responsible, making the wicked people commit more sins and feel great about it, which is pure stupidity. It's totally incorrect. At least if it was the truth, not always is good to say the truth in front of ignorant people. They will take advantage on that truth to run to make sins. There are cases like this. The Gemara say, certain things you don't say in front of Amaretz, in front of an ignorant. Why? It's Torah. Not everyone understands. Some people are stupid. You say it, they will use it immediately to undo another sin, similar to that. You have to be responsible. But this is totally false. Completely false. Every place in the Torah it's written, and in the 13th principle of Judaism, the Torah will never change. The concept of reward and punishment will never change. It's one of the 13th principles of Judaism. To come and claim that in certain time, according to people behaving in the circumstances of the generation, that Hashem changes ruling in opinion and parts of the Torah does not apply, that's the biggest heresy. It doesn't matter if you look like a Santa Claus with a nice sombrero. It doesn't make any difference. You are 100% wicked heresy. Infidel that spreads heresy, and everyone who listens to this clown will be punished severely. Why don't you check? Why don't you check that this person speaks the exact opposite of the Torah? Even Muslims in their mosques don't speak as bad as he does, and even Christians don't speak as bad as he does, because when it comes to reward and punishment, Muslims and Christians will speak more accurate than this Santa Claus. Why is it? Because he thinks he's the new God. He decided to make a new Torah. And he's popular. That's the problem. If it was another forgotten speaker, no, who would want to waste time on him? But he murdered thousands of souls on a monthly basis. But now I hope people begin to understand how dangerous he is. You understand, Rabotai? So this is what's going on over here. So first, you have to learn when you're allowed to say something in public about someone. When you're allowed to say Lashon Hara to someone. Not always you're allowed. One person asked me, maybe if you speak to this person, people they'll do tshuva. So the answer is we did. Rabbi Yaron Reuven and myself, We approach them. Not only they don't do tshuva, they make fun. That's a sign of a wicked person. When you approach a righteous person that made a mistake, he may not agree with you that he made a mistake, but he speaks to you like a human being, like a Talmid Chacham. When you come to a person that makes fun and tells you, pay me $400 if you want me to ask you a question, then you show how rotten he is and how wicked he is, and how full of himself he is. Did you ever hear a Chacham that was challenged about something he said and he makes fun of the person? No, he gives the source. He said where he got it. You don't have to agree. In the end, you stay in your opinion, he stays in his opinion. No problem, it's not the end of the world. You speak. You speak. Like a Talmid Chacham. Don't make fun. Don't be sarcastic about things that the world is standing on it. Someone is asking you a question, in case he's right and you are wrong, you're actually destroying the whole world. You're making fun? You're making another video to make it worse because of your ego? Why? Because people criticized you? That's what's going on out there. So the Chafetz Chaim, everybody must learn. Not once, many times. It has to be on a daily basis. Few halachot every day, for years. Until you know all the laws of Lashon Hara. And if you don't feel you know, ask. Ask what I'm allowed to say, what I'm not allowed to say. The Chafetz Chaim elaborates and he says, there are examples and foundations in halachot, what's allowed to answer, what's not allowed, when they ask you about someone else. The principle is, Chafetz Chaim say, things about sicknesses, that there's a severe sickness. Person has cancer. You cannot hide it. He may die. What, this girl's going to marry him and now find out 2 months later that he's dying? You have to say, he has sexual transmitted serious disease. You have to say, he's an apikores. You must say. You have to say his opinions are apikorsiut, heresy. He's an infidel. You must say. You're not allowed to let a girl marry an infidel or a guy marry an infidel girl. You have to say the truth. Chafetz Chaim say. We have a dilemma what a doctor will do. A doctor has a contradiction between the Torah and his job. When he becomes a doctor, there's a law in America and in many countries. He must be confidential about the medical status of his patients. Even if the police of the FBI come, by law he doesn't have to reveal what he knows about the medical condition of a person. And if you go to a judge and ask for a warrant to get that, I don't know exactly when they will allow it or not, but my belief is that they won't so easy give you a warrant. You have to check. But, same thing psychologist. If someone comes and confesses to his psychologist or to his psychiatrist that he has the urge to murder people and he feels that he cannot relax until he kills, according to the Torah, he must run to the police and tell them, check this person carefully, who knows how many people he killed. You have unsolved murder mystery, this guy is a serious suspect. That's according to the Torah. According to the law of the United States, if he does it, he will lose his license. They'll put him on the news, all the liberal haters of God. Right away, the Democrats will put him on the news. Oh, he just turned in a serial killer into the police. Oh, he just turned a pedophile into the police. That's why I say, who's to say that you're even allowed to be a doctor in this country? Somebody comes and asks you a question. If you say the truth, you save the life of 20 people. If you stick to the law of the United States, 20 people will die or be raped. A very big contradiction. Very big contradiction. So, no, when there is a dilemma between listening to Hashem and listening to the Torah or listening to the law of the land, what's the answer? You must listen to the Torah. So sometimes some jobs will put you in a situation that you must violate the rules of the Torah. When you are a doctor, a lawyer, and when we are a judge. Like I gave an example from this Hasidic judge in a criminal court in Manhattan. She has to do things every day against the Torah. There's no other way. She must do according to the law of the United States, which many of them the exact opposite of what Hashem say to do. For instance, if a person, this Muslim that beat up that Hasidic guy and started to scream against the Jews, she had to make a decision if to release him because on bail or not. If it's a hate crime, she can't release him on a small bail. It has to be millions. And a serious punishment is coming. Why? Racism, hate crime, it's serious. But if it's just violence, maybe they had a fight about parking, they had a fight and he beat him up. Now, $15,000 bail. She tried to prove I'm more American judge than I'm a Jew. So she released that Arab with $15,000, even there was many witnesses who heard that he screamed all kinds of racist remarks. But she has to find favor in her supervisor, hoping to get a promotion to the Supreme Court one day. She has to prove her loyalty to the court, and by that to go against Hashem. That's a very difficult job. Who's to say that it's a kosher job? Same thing a criminal lawyer. You have to defend monsters. You know he murdered that girl, and you have to defend him and put him back on the street knowing he's going to murder another 5 like them. Who says kosher? So this is an example. I mean, I had a case today. It happened a few days ago. A few days ago, I got an email from a woman that her father, 53 years old, is in a critical condition in one of the hospitals. The doctor tried 2 procedures on him and both failed. The doctor told her, we have to disconnect him from the machines. They need a bed. A lot of people coming with the corona now. And they say, the doctors are very convincing. You know, when they speak to an ignorant person in medicine, they can convince you anything they want. The doctor told her and her sisters that if she keeps her father alive, she actually brings a lot of suffering to him. His lungs going to have water, and his kidneys going to have water, and he's going to blow up, and he's going to feel more pain. And it's better now to disconnect him from the machine because there is no chance whatsoever that he will ever come back to life. He's in coma and connected to machines. So now, Baruch Hashem, from all the family members, this woman had fear from God. She loved her father. I'm sure the other ones also loved the father. Maybe a sign of love is to disconnect him from the machine, that he shouldn't suffer. That's also logic. But she was afraid to tell the doctor disconnected the machines. She arrived to me. She sent me that email. I told her there is no permission from the Torah to disconnect a person with the hands from a machine that caused him to die. It's murder. You're killing him. If he's already connected to machine, life-extending machine, respirators, all kinds of things like that, you cannot disconnect them. You have to wait until they die naturally. There's no permission to disconnect the oxygen or anything else. However, if the patient is suffering tremendously, there is also no obligation to connect more machine to extend life if something goes wrong. Naturally, he's dying. I'm not killing you with the hands. And I let you die because I hate to see you suffer. In a Gemara, there is a case when Rabbi Yochanan, 11 of his kids died. He was going to Nichum Avelin. 10 kids of his died, and he used to go from one place to the other to tell people, you lost 1 and I lost 10. In the end, when Rish Lakish dies, Chevruta, he became mentally ill. That's it. He could not function anymore. Everybody saw his suffering. Everybody gathered together and prayed that Hashem will take him away. So from here we see there is permission to pray that someone that suffers will die. And Hashem will take him to the next world if you see that he's really suffering. But to kill him with a hand, there's no permission. So I told her, absolutely not. She came back to me. The doctors also don't give up. No, but it's going to be like this, it's going to be like that. I'm making a long story short. I say to her, no permission. Don't agree. Don't agree, don't agree, don't agree. Back and forth. It's been taking a few days already. Today she sent an email. Rabbi, unbelievable miracle has happened to us. a doctor came and suggested something new to do another, I guess, a different procedure. They performed that procedure and it worked wonderfully. My father came back to conscious. His life was given back to him. Here you go, Rabotai. This is a person the doctors were about to kill. Who knows how many people like this died in the last 2 months because they were in a rush to kill them and clear the bed. I'm not talking about the murderer anti-Semite nurses who killed a lot of people by starving them and on purpose killing them, and who knows how many they choked, and who knows how many on purpose they did not connect to the machines that they needed. I'm not talking about this. This is, you saw a lot of the videos on WhatsApp circulating by nurses that testify that they're murdering people. I'm talking over here that, they're right away, they decide there's nothing can be done. A man would die in age 53. So, Baruch Hashem, hopefully now he's going to live 30 years extra or 40 or more. Imagine this. That was mamash a matter of murder. This is an example. An example of, things that Chaz v'Shalom can happen. Obviously, Mishamayim, Hashem did not want this man to die. He wanted him to continue to live. And somehow they arrived to me. But if she did not ask, they would surrender. They would say yes, and that would be the end of it. So let's just conclude. Mamash, we have the last 5 minutes. I just want to finish this, and we'll conclude for today. The way Hashem handled things from Shamayim is beyond human logic. It's written clearly in the Torah, Ki lo machshevotai machshevotechem. In the Tanakh, my thoughts are not your thoughts. My ways are not your ways. Don't try to compare you to me. You compared to me, it's like a worm compared to an eagle that can go in the entire world in a few days, and a worm will take him 1,000,000 years to finish the whole world. There's nothing to compare. I always said, we cannot think about more than one thing at the same time. Most people cannot do 2 things at the same time. You can't have a conversation and text someone else at the same time. You get confused. Most people. Some people, they have sharp head, they can do few things at the same time. But that's just about it. 2, 3 things, that's it. Hashem, in every given second, is doing hundreds of trillions of transactions that they are all connected to each other, directly and indirectly, every given second, from the time the world was created until now. Eagles and worms and birds and trees and oxygen and people and conversations between people, money, transaction, transfer, sicknesses, doctors, surgeries, everything is supervised simultaneously at the same second, and one tiny mistake in one place will create the entire world justice system to collapse. Because there's not one thing you can do in a world without supervising the whole picture. If you miss some of the parts, you never reach the right judgment. And plus, everything creates a chain reaction. One little thing that happens here, a year later, can affect someone in China. You know how it is. A lot of people don't pay the rent now. Why? The business is closed. The landlord don't get paid. The landlord is going to be behind the mortgage. The landlord doesn't have food. Why the landlord is suffering? Because the tenant doesn't pay. Why the tenant doesn't pay? Because they close this business, the government. So they close. Everybody gets affected by everybody. It's going all the way to the other side of the world. And if you send money to your brother who is in yeshiva in Israel, so now he doesn't get money. So now he cannot buy soap and shampoo and whatever he needs. It's all going, and you know how many people are starving? Today I got an email, a woman, Israeli woman. The email is mamash ripping the heart to pieces. She and her husband and 2 children, already a month and a half at home in Israel. They left with 17 shekel, $5. That's it. They don't have food. The refrigerator is empty. They don't have bread for Shabbat. Nothing. The house is empty. There's not just bread. Okay, no, you have bread. We'll eat bread on Shabbat. We don't have wine. We'll eat bread. There's no bread. I had to make urgent phone calls to arrange for them food for the next week or 2 until we see what to do with them. They don't pay rent. They don't have money, their husband didn't work, he got fired from his place. That's the situation, more or less, of more than 1 million Israelis. Israel have 9 million citizens. 6.5 are Jews, approximately. The rest are Arabs. Arabs, Druze, Thailandi, Romanian, Filipinos, all the other goyim that came to Israel. From the 6.5 million Jews, close to 800,000 of them are Russian goyim also. But they consider them as Jews in a statistic, because they're not Arabs. Okay, so about 6 million Jews, let's say, okay? So from 6 million people, 1.2 million are out of the job. They said on the news, 28% unemployment. Right now, 28%. It was, I think, 3 or 4% before Corona. Now it's 28%. And it only get worse. For instance, some people only got the letter of termination today, a month and a half later, meaning they did everything they can not to fire them. But that's it. Now they just told them, that's it, you fired. So this is now the woman left the email without the telephone number. She's looking for help. I already got the arrangement for her, but I don't know how to reach her, so I had to send her an email. But she went to sleep. It was already after midnight in Israel. So she only will see my email in the morning. Baruch Hashem, I always stay late until late, so she will reply probably. Then I will have to send again the telephone number to the people in Israel. I will go and collect the food and bring it to them and all these things. This is just one family out of thousands that are in this situation. Unfortunately, and in America, you don't have cases like this. People here did not get fired, so many people. Hashem will have mercy on all of us. Let's see how it works. First thing, when it comes to Shamayim, Rabbi Israel Misalant, in his book Or Israel, Sof Ma'amar Marchiv Laber, it's, he writes over there that HaKadosh Baruch Hu managed the world in 2 ways. There is one way which is above the laws of nature. We have no understanding in it. We understand laws because they keep repeating. So we learn that. But there is one aspect that is above nature. Person does not have any understanding in it. Why one Mechalel Shabbat die 20 and the other one die 90? We don't understand because there are many details that is above our understanding. Why one person killed someone accidentally with a car? Accident. And to the other person it didn't happen. Why, when all kinds of things that happen, I have no understanding. I was so good. Why did I deserve this? And there is another way that is according to nature. Everything goes according to logic. Nature has logic. Things work according to the logic, the divine logic. A person that will go out in a winter freezing storm without the proper clothing will be sick. We know that. There's no surprise. That's nature. This is something that everybody understands by human logic. Everything that happens according to logic, to human logic and the laws of nature, we understand. However, so everything that happens by nature and we do understand, a person will be sued, prosecuted, and punished, or will receive reward, depending on his choices, good or bad. And we are obligated to do the maximum we can do in everything that Hashem told us. You have to do the maximum in tzedakah, the maximum in keeping Shabbos, the maximum in you should not lie, the maximum in honesty and integrity and loyalty and don't be ungrateful, in learning Torah the maximum, in praying the maximum, watching your health, you have to do the maximum you can. But when it comes to Darchei Shamayim, we have no understanding. We are limited. That's why we won't be sued for that. Things that is above our understanding. No one will tell, hey, why didn't you know the future? I'm a prophet, how am I supposed to know? I did what was right according to the Torah at that moment. What happened later, it's not in my hand. Oh, okay, that's why there's no claim against you. Therefore, when we speak about shidduchim, finding your soulmate, and our responsibility for that, when it comes to above nature, the divine supervision, we don't have any understanding and we won't be sued for that. We won't be held responsible. If Hashem decreed that they will get married, no matter how many negative things you're going to tell them, they will get married. And the other way around. If Hashem decreed they won't get married, no matter how much you try to make this shidduch, it won't happen. At the end, it was against Hashem's will. Interfere here. Therefore, don't go into that. Don't kill yourself. Don't feel horrible about yourself. It's not in your responsibility. There used to be giant chachamim who suffered very much in their marriage. You sometimes can be perfect in your behaving, but your wife has her issues. She has all kinds of things. She can function. She had the trauma. She suffered. She has different ways of looking at things. Things that happen could broke her. Giving birth, something happened. Chas v'shalom, baby died. She can never come out of it. Something that happened in her family broke her. Or the guy. The guy can sometimes stop functioning. My grandfather, alav hashalom, my father's oldest brother, he was the Ben HaBechor, Nisim his name, Mizrachi was. He fought with the Menachem Begin, 1941, in Ramle. Ramle is close to the airport in Israel, with the Arabs over there. It was a war, the liberation war. It was it was 1947, my mistake. 1947, a year before Israel became a state, 1948. Israel today here, became 72 years old. It was the Independence Day, 72 years old. So there was a year before, fighting for liberation, until the Prime Minister Ben Gurion announced in the United Nations that they're forming the Israeli state. So he died 17 years old. He was such a hero, tall, handsome, the pride of my grandfather. Once his oldest son died, he got into bed for the rest of his life. Tens of years. He was in bed, sick and depressed. I remember as a kid, as a child, I remember how they used to feed him with grinded apples. I remember this as I was maybe 3 years old, not even. I remember how they used to make him sit and how they used to feed him. But he was in bed. I asked once my father why he was always in bed. Every time I came to visit, he was always sick in bed under the. He said after what happened to Nissim, he can never go back to life. No. So the grandmother has to live with a husband like this, that is mentally broken. It happens. Sometimes it's because of not necessarily depression and crisis. It could be the nature of people sometimes change for bad. Also can happen. So this is the example over here that sometimes we had very big chachamim that suffer in their marriage. You want to go and say, I have to fix the world. It's not in your responsibility. It's Hashem's calculation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu manik ta'olam, Hashem is running the world, managing the world. Things will happen according to His management, which is above nature. You don't understand 1%. What's your responsibility is to do what you require by nature. Someone is sick, take him to the hospital. That's nature. Run, get a doctor. You are a doctor, run, try to help him. That's it. The rest is not in your hand. Many times the doctors will tell you the operation went well, but the patient did not survive. It sounds like a joke, but it's reality. It's not a joke. Meaning, check the video. Today they film everything. Check the video. We did everything according to the book. No mess up, no malpractice, nothing. Nobody went out in the middle of surgery, nobody answered the phone, everybody did whatever they have to, the nurses, the doctors. Mamash, they did it faithfully. Nobody knows. I had one case, a doctor called me to ask me if he can do Birkat Kohanim. I asked him, what happened? He said, I'm a surgeon. In the middle of an operation, my patient died. I asked him, no, how did it happen? He said, there's no way. We did the surgery exactly by the book. Everything went well. She got up. She went out of the recovery room. The next day, she died. What? The health department sent an investigator. They checked. They came to a conclusion that there was something that clogged the blood somewhere. In the head, I don't know exactly where. A girl or a woman, she died. So I asked him, so what do you worry about? Did they take away your license? No, I came clean. I did nothing wrong. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. Okay, very good. So what's the question? Can I do Birkat Kohanim? After all, someone died for my hands. The answer, of course, you do Birkat Kohanim. Birkat Kohanim is when you deliberately went to kill someone. Here you didn't kill, you came to cure. You came to do good, to save life. What happened? It's in the hand of Hashem. This is a perfect example for this subject. That's above nature. Hashem has his calculation. Whatever his reasons are. In the book Conversation with Shlomo Hoffman about reality and conscience, page 280, Rav Shlomo brought from Chidushei Harim an explanation of the claim of Korach against Moshe Rabbeinu. Lama titnas'u? Why you are stuck up? Why you are full of pride? Which was the problem of Korach. A person come to attack someone, you proud, you angry, you this, you a crook, you a liar, and exactly what he is. He was Baal Gaiva, and Moshe was the most humble person in the history of the world. And who testified it? Hashem. Hashem said, Aish Moshe anav meod. Hashem did not write about me that I'm a nav. He did not write about you that you are a nav. You can claim you are a nav. You can claim you're not. There is no one to justify you from heaven. But Moshe got a stamp from Hashem. A kashrut certificate. Not from the Rabbanut, from Hashem. And what Korach does? He said to Moshe, why you stuck up? Lama titnasu? Why you took everything for yourself? You're too proud. Korach, this is a psychological issue here. Korach could not stand the fact that he's proud. He attacks someone else. I always say in previous lecture, proud people cannot stand proud people. Stingy people cannot stand stingy people. Lazy people cannot stand lazy people. Angry people cannot stand angry people. Everyone that has problems cannot stand someone that is similar to him. This is his way of releasing his frustration from himself. This is what the Gemara says, "En adam roe negei atzmo." Of course a person sees what's wrong about him. He sees. However, he would rather attack someone else that has the same issues because he detects the issues that he has in himself in someone else's life. The person will see to the eyes. We can only see from the outside. What you see from the outside is never the truth. Only Hashem will see to the heart. Hashem yireh lalevav. It means that if you don't say everything, if they ask you, you don't have to feel that if you don't say everything, it's a problem. If they ask you about specific detail, just say what's in the most simple way and short way and to the point. Don't elaborate. Don't volunteer information that will ruin the shidduch. Don't judge. Don't say, according to my opinion, I would never agree to marry someone like this. It's dangerous. You should be careful. Don't add. They ask you about certain thing, you say the truth, that's it. Don't give evaluations. Don't add evaluations of your own, your opinions. Don't assess more things than they ask you to. Just say, if for instance they ask you, is he nice to people? Everybody almost is nice to some people and nasty to others. Almost everybody. So sometimes you wonder, you have a friend, so nice, and then he tells you that someone was very bad to him. You ask yourself, how this person was nasty to this guy? He's such a nice guy. Yes, to this guy is nasty, to the other one is very nice. So you can say, some people is very nice to, some people is not as nice to. It's a 50-50 thing. Why should I be the judge? I give them a little bit to think about, and that's it. Don't rush with such desire to ruin the shidduch, sometimes out of jealousy. Meaning, you can speak about what people see from the outside. Don't give your own interpretation and assessment. Rav Gedalia Eisman, one of the Gdolim, is the first one who taught me that. Many years ago when I was young, he told me complicated things about human being. The behaving that you see from the outside is not really the real human being. If I would not speak to Rav Gedalia about it, until today I will never get the point. He taught me and put into my head that a person can be good to one, it doesn't mean he will be good for one or the other one. If he's honest always with one, doesn't mean he's not stealing from others. There can be contradictions like this. Lefize, according to this, I understood what it means in the spiyut that we say in Yamim Noraim on Rosh Hashanah and Kippur time. Now we praise Hashem שהוא הטוב והמיטיב לרעים ולטובים. Hashem benefits the good and the bad. Wicked people get oxygen. Wicked people have water and food and clothing and house and cars. How can you benefit someone that goes against you every minute of his life and is so ungrateful? How can you benefit people that not only goes against you, actually make it the mission of their life to destroy your Torah? לכאורה קשה, מה הכפילות? Why do we have to say הטוב והמיטיב? Hashem is good to everyone. Good and to the righteous and to the wicked. He gives them all what they need to live. Why do we have to say הטוב and the מיטיב? טוב means good to someone and מיטיב להם, benefits them. If it's good, or you can ask the same question, if Hashem is good for the people who goes against him and still give them everything they need in this world, needless to say that he will give to the good ones, no? But today I understand that it's not a must. Why? Because the relationship between two individuals is very complicated. And if we benefit to one, we cannot learn from that that from the second one that he will also benefit. But when we praise Hashem, that's great. That is good to everyone with no exception to the rule. Even these dirty, filthy, murderer Nazis drove nice cars, live in beautiful homes, had arts in their homes, ate well, enjoyed music. Then, from the outside, generals, they get respect, no one was checking from them, until in the end they got what they deserve. And now, until now, they're getting paid for what they deserve. But for the time being, Hashem actually gave people that kill his own children, babies, on a daily basis. This is one of the greatest things when you think about Hashem, think about it. We cannot do a little favor to someone who said one bad word about us. It's already difficult for us to look at him. Forget about to help them. If someone just came and killed your own son and cut him to pieces and burned his body in front of your eyes, and now you have to go and prepare lunch for him and give him, are you able to do such thing? You know one person in the world that will be able to go and do it? Come, Mr. Murderer, let me make you a steak. It's not realistic. Not only that, if someone will do that, we will all say, wow, he became crazy from the trauma. For sure, he became crazy. He lost his mind. Look how great is Hashem. that while people doing the most despicable thing in the world against his will, he still gave them what he promised, which is enough to live for the X amount years you have to be here in a test. I will continue to supply you with what you need. Someone sent me a message today that he wants to marry someone and the parent of that someone refused. Very much, fighting. But something very interesting in that message it was. The father of the other person say, if you marry the other person, you're no longer my kid. I will pay for the wedding and give you what I have to give you, and after that we have no more relationship. I was very surprised. Usually when parents use their power to ruin the marriage of their kids or the future marriage, one of the first things they will use is, you're not going to get a penny from me. I'm not going to even come to the wedding. I won't pay for the wedding, for sure, I won't pay. And then they say, you're not my son, you're not my daughter, and the rest of the 9 yards. Over here, it was very interesting. A person is in madly craziness, fighting, threatening, all kinds of other things. And while he's so mad and so against it, but if you choose to do it, at least my fulfillment to pay for the wedding and to help you to get married, I will still do it, but I don't want anything to do with you after that. I don't understand the contradiction here. So, there's a lot of strange things happening. We almost finished, mamash last minute. So, we see that if you're good to one, doesn't mean you'll be good to the other one. Same personality you have. Sometimes people you like them, you want to give them their life. You know, if you fell in love with them, as soon as you met them, that's it. They became the most important person in your life. So it doesn't really matter anymore. You enjoy doing for them. It's actually helping yourself. But sometimes there's another person which is just as nice, but you don't want to look at them. You don't understand why. Why I'm attracted to this one and not to this one. It could be from previous life. By the way, I saw in one of the books that even where you stood when we got the Torah in Mount Sinai, all the souls were there, all the Jewish souls. Where you stood in the time that Hashem, the Shekhinah, came on Am Yisrael, make a special connection between the people. If one stood next to you, in all the lives to come, there's going to be a bind together, connection, spiritual. And if you one stood over there and you stood on the other side, there's no chemistry between you. Nothing. It's very interesting, because sometimes you come to a place, you meet a new guy, friend of your friend. Immediately you become buddies for 20 years. Hey, I only invited you, now you became friend of my friend and you left me? Why is it? The souls immediately had a special connection between them. Now we should finish with this, as I said. Mamash, it's not greatness to be nice person to someone that is nice to you. To friends, to people you like. Can you be nice to someone that is not so nice to you? Doesn't give you love and attention? Can you just love a Jew because he's one of your brothers, even though he's not the nicest to you? Not your friend? Is not your style? Is not your type? Is not your color? Is not your nationality? He doesn't dress like you? That's greatness. I'm totally different than him. Different mentality, different culture, different music, different food, different everything. We together? Come, let's eat together. Let me help you. Let me see what I can do for you. This coronavirus made a lot of people who used to be apart from each other joining in buildings to do minyanim. That Hasid and this Litvish and this Temani and this Syrian and this guy Bukhari, Persian. All of a sudden one guy sent to me, he said, just for that it was worth it. Why? You need minyan. Where are you going to get? You get it in one building. You cannot make outside. The shoes are closed. People from their terraces, they made minyanim. One Hasid saying Kaddish, tomorrow another Syrian say Kaddish. All of a sudden, people started to tolerate each other. People who are not in touch, not Chas v'Shalom, that they hated each other before, but I don't find anything in mutual with this guy that came from that country. It's totally different than me, his culture. Maybe for that, Hashem wanted to break the walls between his children. Rav Gedalia taught me, the first time, the impression, a person that is good for his friends and relatives, it doesn't mean he's not a cruel person. And it doesn't mean he's a good person. You have to analyze him much more carefully. Now, you can't jump to conclusion that he's nice to his children or he's nice to everyone around him, which kissing up to him. Therefore, you should understand that when you say, and when people ask you about somebody, that the guy has good midot, it's not necessarily true. You don't know him, how he is in different scenarios, or with different people. And when you say the guy has bad midot, bad traits, also it's not necessarily true. Depend with whom, depend on what's the scenario. And we have a rule, kamaim panim lepanim, right? We have a rule. The way you behave to someone, that's what you get in return. You're extremely nice, even if in the beginning he rejects you, keep going. I said to one person in an email, keep being nice to your wife, but forget about that. 5, 6, 7 weeks in a row, no criticism, no killing, no nothing. Just nice things, compliment, change. Put your ego, bury it. Everything will be fine. 2 months later, you see she's a whole different person. Why? There's not that much until a person will begin to get convinced that that's a new husband I have now. That's it. And even if you're right that the person has bad midot, you don't have to run and say it. It can change for the better. People change. Some people change. Not everyone has bad midot. You don't know what motivates him right now, what drives him. Maybe this crisis in the house, maybe something happened, maybe a year from now will be great. I've seen in my own eyes a person that was the worst. They set him up with one of my best Baalei Tshuva ever. A girl from the highest class of girl. Everything a kosher girl should have, she had. And this guy was arrogant, chatzuf. I said, what a terrible shidduch. Who made such a shidduch? But a year later, everything turned around. Today, after so many years, this is the most righteous guy. The most righteous. Ben Torah, humble, shy, nice, down to earth, speak with such manners. The arrogant guy disappeared completely. And now you see what Hashem saw. We couldn't see it. We can only see it from the outside. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that something like this will end good. And it ended the best possible way. And not to talk about what a great children they have, bli ayin hara. Bnei Torah, all very, very serious kids. You see them in a shul. Why? People can change. Maybe in 2 years it will be a lot nicer. You don't know what right now is happening in his life. You don't know, Chas v'Shalom, maybe something happened in his house. Maybe something happened to his parent, to his brother, sister. Or he's going through crisis. All kinds of things. Bezrat Hashem. So we finish over here, Bezrat Hashem. I made it very long today. The reason I make the lectures a little bit longer, because I want to finish this series as soon as possible before we will renew the lectures in the shul. We can go to weekly topics, every topic. To be honest, I'm very disappointed that many people do not watch this series, because I don't know why. I don't know if they think maybe it's a series, they don't want to commit to something. I don't understand, because every week you talk about something else. We all need to know about these things, if not for ourselves, for our children. One day you have to marry your children, you're going to have to know about these things. It's also good for relationship regardless of marriage. And when people speak Corona and current events, right away tens of thousands of people right away click and share. When it's real Torah, real life, real personality, real midot, advice for life, much more critical things for your life, People are in their own world. I don't understand. So everybody that listens to this lecture, share it, send it to others. Don't be cold and indifferent and selfish. Share it with other people. If you send them now, this is the fourth part, people will go back retroactive and watch 1, 2, and 3. If they see 4, they already understand that there is 3 lectures before. It's going to be a schut. You get a guy into the series, he's going to listen to maybe 10 or 15 lectures. I don't know how many lectures it's going to be in the end. But it's going to be all your merit. Every 2-3 hours the lecture multiplied by 10 or 15, it could be 40 hours of lecture, 30 hours of lectures. Each hour is 60,000 mitzvot will all go to your account by pressing share to 300 people on your page. What can be a better profit? Also, people wants to sponsor lectures. Big mitzvah right now when many people cannot donate. Those who can have more responsibility for the next month or two to volunteer and to help until Bezrat Hashem will pass this crisis. Everything will happen later, will be their merit. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen ve'amen.